Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm just going to go over some techniques for the 5-letter word project. Uh, the materials that we need are pretty straightforward. We've used, I think, the majority of them before. Pens, pencil, um, acrylic paint for the final um, rendering, tracing paper, and a computer with a printer would be ideal. If you don't have access to one, I'll show you what I mean in a second, but you can trace from the screen of your computer. You could possibly order stencils, letter stencils of some sort, uh, or you could trace letters from various sources to come up with your letter forms and your words. So I would say the most ideal would be printing. So the word that I chose, obviously you all don't have to pick this one, but I did, just for examples, was the word slice. So I blew it up pretty big on Photoshop, and so it fits on the paper. This is Helvetica font. It's a nice, bold, sort of clean, easy to work with type of font. The reason I did that is because I kind of wanted something really simple to do my various sort of examples on, and it's a good one for trial and error because the shapes are very geometric. If you look at some of these letter forms, they're mostly just pure lines and rectangles and circles, essentially. There's not a lot of kind of complex, feet, as they call them, on the ends of the letters or serifs. This is a sans serif font, so I find it to be a nice kind of clean, modern font to work with. It's used in a lot of logos and things, as we saw on the video online, and it's just going to be a good solid font to work with for your logos here. So I printed out a bunch of these. This is just standard printing paper, 8.5 by 11, and our final, as we went over, is going to be on 9 by 12, roughly. So it kind of fits nicely on that format to work with, giving like a nice 2-inch border or more, which gives it some breathing room to make the word really stand out and it's not smushed up against the edges. So yeah, I printed out these three. What I started doing here, there's no right or wrong way to really do this. You want to kind of look at that creative process diagram. I know we went over that really early on, but a lot of that will come into play here with your decision making and kind of just your process that you go through to get to your final result. So start very open-minded. Don't try and just pick your first idea and just go with it. I would, stay open-minded for the first couple days of this project, and just try and come up with something that is going to be, I think, subtle, but and not too obvious, but not too predictable. I feel like there's kind of a sweet spot where within visual communication and sort of logos and things like that, where you want it to be legible and look good. It wants to read well, but there's also some hidden sort of message in there or something very interesting, but not too dramatic done with the letters. So I just went here and kind of just traced these letters. For the straight edges, use a ruler. For these rounded parts, it's a little more, you just have to focus more on your drawing. You can see there's some bumps here, which is fine. When when you go to do your final one, you want to try and not have those bumps show. Obviously, you want to get it as clean as you can. But for the tracing, it won't matter too much. But you do want to try and get it again as clean as you can. So I just kind of went about here tracing this. What I'm going to show you is how I would translate, or not translate, transfer this onto the illustration board, which we worked with for the Morphing Grid project. So what I did was trace it once with pen, and then I traced the back of it with pen again. So then I have pen on the front and the back. The reason I had to trace it on the back is because if I transferred this, the word would come out backwards. And it might be kind of cool actually, but for the sake of this, we want it to be legible. So I put it on both sides. You can see already, this is just on sketch paper. It's kind of a faint outline. We've done this process before with the last project, so you all should be familiar with this transfer process. So I just, again, used, my pen, or my pencil rather. It seems to just transfer the marks better onto paper, and I kind of just push in, and it kind of transfers it right on there. If it's not coming through 100% with the camera here, it will when you see it in person. So that would be good for your final kind of one. As far as the sketches go, you're free to play around with doing as many techniques as you would like. You can you could even cut out these letters and arrange them certain ways. I just kind of started drawing literally on the words here, and then I might go over this again and trace these little parts here, and then like some sort of slice thing, just a little here off the top. And so when I went to trace it again, I might just trace this part. So it shows that kind of slicing off. So maybe I would just trace that. So you get that effect of just, the act of slicing or whatever other adjective your word might have. So these can be really fun to do, I think. Don't get too obsessive, I think, with finding the best one. I think at some point, there is a time where you need to commit to one and just go for it. Make it the best you can. There is deadlines, and working in the design field, most designers go right to the craft part somewhat soon, because that can take a really long time to perfect just the details and things like that. And most kind of professional designers get really quick with this creative process. Again, we're not design professionals yet, but you want to not spend forever on that creative process. You do want to just kind of stick to one and kind of focus on that craft, because that's going to make it come across just as well as a good idea will. So the final, I'll get to that at another video, but that will be done with black acrylic paint. So you could imagine this here, and then even if I kind of say I take that little slice out here, right? So I would fill in, you know, this with my pen and acrylic paint, and then your final would be your word kind of coming to life just in black and white. So you can use pen to kind of fill in some of the edges, but acrylic paint and tape will work well for the rest of it. Again, use that tape technique that we saw in the morphing grid video to really get those clean edges, and you can fill in these areas with the acrylic paint. So that's about it for now. I will show another video on the painting process and kind of coming to the final version. So stay tuned for that.